So I'm going to demonstrate some of the basic steps involved in letting go. And after we've done a little bit of that, we'll open the floor to questions and sharing and assistance. So the first way of letting go is simply choosing to let it go. And with that, we use a set of very simple questions. The first question is, could you let it go? And if you were able to drop that object a few moments ago, which I noticed everyone in this room succeeded in doing, and I'll trust you, those of you at home, I'm sure you could drop a pen or a pencil too. But what you'll find is if that you were able to do that, and you're like the hundreds of thousands of people, soon millions of people around the world who are doing this, you'll find that you can let go of even long-standing issues too by simply deciding to. So the first question is, could you let it go? The next question is, would you let it go? And would you just means, are you willing to? And if you're ever struggling on your own, you can ask yourself, would I rather hold on to this feeling or this pain or this suffering, or would I rather be free of it? And if you'd rather be free of it, you'll find that just in that knowing that you'd rather be free, it starts to let go all by itself. And the last question is when. And when is an invitation to decide to do it now. And so the questions again are, could you let it go? Would you let it go? And when? Now I know those questions are incredibly simple, but that's part of the reason they're as powerful as they are. Walt Whitman said, truth is simple. If it was complicated, everyone would understand it. We tend to complicate things way more than we need to. And so be open to the possibility that right here, right now, you can be free of whatever it is that you're holding on to. And as we do these questions together, we'll do it together in a second, please simply do your best to work from here as opposed to here. In other words, as best you can, follow your heart as opposed to your head. Do you have to abandon your head? No. Is your head necessarily going to try to help even though you're trying to follow your heart? Yes, and that's okay. And the other thing is, as you answer these questions, it's not important how you answer them. Yes or no are both acceptable answers. Most of us think that you have to say yes when someone asks you this type of question, but you don't. You can say yes or no, and you'll still get equal benefit. So just for those of you who are doubting that a little bit, everybody say yes. Yes. No. No. Yes. Yes. No. 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 What's the difference? It's just a sound. So just be honest with yourself and avoid debate as best you can. And remember that yes or no are both acceptable answers. So allow yourself to focus inside. Now, by the way, you don't have to get set to do this unless you want to. A lot of people think that they have to assume a particular position in order to release. But this is something you can do anywhere, anytime. You don't have to assume any particular position. And by the way, you can do this with eyes open or eyes closed, however you prefer, whichever works best for you. And I would highly recommend that you experiment with both doing this with eyes open and with eyes closed. So allow yourself to think of an issue in your life that you've been wanting to change or improve. Or think of an issue about the planet that you've been wanting to change or improve. And in this moment, could you just simply welcome how you feel? Could you just let it be here? And then as best you can, could you let it go? Just could you? Would you? When? and focus on that same issue or some other issue that you've been wanting to change or improve. And could you just simply welcome however you feel? Could you let it be here? And then as best you can, just for now, could you let it go? Just could you? Would you? When? Now, if your mind is still struggling a little bit, that's totally okay too. So again, in this moment, could you just simply welcome how you feel? Just let it be here. And then as best you can, just for now, could you let it go? Just could you? Would you? When? Now, if you were doing this on your own, you would continue to ask these questions as long as you felt you needed to until you got the relief you were looking for. Now, again, I know these questions are incredibly simple. Just last weekend, I was leading a seminar, and a woman came up to me and said, I had this lifelong fear of, I can't remember which phobia it was. I hear about it all the time. But anyway, she had this lifelong fear, and she said just from listening to the simple process and working with it, not even that much doing it on our own, just listening to it a few times and releasing, that lifelong fear completely dissolved. So I highly encourage you to not discount these basic tools, this basic question. Remember, feelings are just feelings. They're not facts, and they're not you, and you can let them go.
Édesvíz. Ezotéria, önfejlesztés, életmód.